Okay, you were talking a little bit about why, like, purchasing the books and materials was your favorite part of the job?
Right, because, as a librarian, you're like a resource junkie. There's more information. I have been really pleased when I started in 2005. There just weren't a lot of publications. There were publications, but it seems to me that it's gotten kind of richer and that the field has had more publishers. Of course, in many areas, things that are less visual, kind of the need for book resources has gone away. And it'll remain to be seen, but art libraries and fashion libraries and things that are more visual still, the book is still important.
That's interesting. What is your least favorite part of the job?
What is my least favorite part of the job? That's a good question.
Actually, let me backtrack.
Yeah.
Are you a fan of, like, the tactile experience of books versus
Oh,
online?
yeah. That's a good question. I am, but I am not I'm not a Luddite. I realize that, there's incredibly valuable experiences that come with having material digitally available. And I think it really depends on the kind of the resource. If you're looking for information that is kind of more word-based, things like, hi there.
Do either of these printers print 11 by 17 paper?
They do not. I'm going to have to send you upstairs.
It's not working.
It's not
They
working?
need to replace the toner, but the guy's on lunch, so they can't replace it, so it can't.
Oh, I'm so sorry. The only thing we have is ledger size, and that's only photocopy. It's not the printer.
Okay.
Apologies. What was I going to say? Sorry. So
Depends on the resource.
Yeah, it depends on the resource. Yep. Thank you. And so if it's text heavy, something like, for example, a textbook, that maybe the visuals are just, I don't know, ancillary or not important, then having it digitally available is wonderful. I just remember being a kid and carrying around, like pounds and pounds. I'm sure my back is less strong than it should be. But there are some things that the tactile and the visual and the scale matter incredibly well, or matter.
Cool. Back to least favorite.
Yes. Let's see. My least favorite thing. I don't know. It might be scheduling, and it's not. I actually love my front desk folks, but it's probably something about just the logistics or scheduling and trying to make sure that you have that all organized.
So you just don't, would you say that's more the administrative side, sort of?
Yeah, and I certainly do there's fun parts to the administrative side. Yeah. But, you get wonderful, let's say, front desk students, and maybe they're graduate students in the library program, or maybe they're undergraduate students here in the fashion program, and then you get to work with them for a semester, and then they graduate or they leave, and you're kind of back to square one.
So it's like those personal connections with people that
I love that personal connection, but sort of kind of constantly having to remake those, find new people, and I used to be sort of half-time here and half-time in special collections and archives. Now it's much easier because I'm full-time here, but you would have to trust somebody to run the library when you weren't physically here.
Okay. What did you want to be growing up?
I wanted to be Margaret Mead, who was a famous anthropologist.
Okay, what was she known for? I don't really.
She was, yeah, exactly. She was known for, she was famous in the probably 1940s and 50s. She was known for going, to islands and working with native peoples and sort of being an academic and kind of studying how people lived and what their beliefs were. So I studied archaeology and some anthropology in school, and that's why I kind of got into museums.
Wow.
But I would love to have been a costume designer. I have no sewing skills. That would have been if you're having a true fantasy.
Anthropologist
or a costume designer. I think they're similar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How so?
How so? I think that both look at the way appearances really do matter. It's how we present ourselves in the world. And clothing is not only, of course, personal presentation, but I've always loved kind of history and time, and so how they dressed in the 1930s versus the 1980s. Those are kind of fascinating things.
Do you have a favorite decade of style?
Let's see. The 1920s are pretty amazing and fabulous. I'm more fascinated now with the 60s because it was such an incredible decade of change. At the beginning of the 60s, it's almost like the 50s, people are super corseted and constrained, and they wear, women wear gloves during the day, and by the end, all hell has broken loose, and it seems like anything is possible. And so that has to be probably the most interesting decade. Also, it's my mom's, and I think we always look maybe at our parents' youth and think those are oh, if I'd only lived back then, or there's something really interesting about it.
I agree.
Yeah.
So what do you do outside of work with your time?
I have very